So I was driving one day and I was just mad at the world with work. And I'm like, all right, universe, if you want me to open up a wellness center, then you just prove it to me. I'm like, prove it. I need the space. I need the money. I need the time. Like, just prove it to me. And I'm really arrogant, and saying all this. I went over and saw my sister and we went to the fair and I got home that night and there was a check in the mail for $1,300. A lot of times people are afraid to live and I'm not like I want my color. I want all the joyful stuff that brings me happiness. Being burnout, it's flipping the script. What can I do to change it? What can I do to look at it differently? What do I maybe need to say goodbye to? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. How do I take care of myself? Because I am not going to be a victim. And, I don't even want to say I'm a survivor. I'm thriving. I'm doing this. I'm holding people accountable for their behavior. And I think that's part of being the strong woman of you don't have to put up with stuff and you can hold people accountable.
What do you think? What is the cost of betraying or ignoring our own souls? And how can we have the courage to be authentic in this world?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Um, and it's interesting. I just sat in a seminar the other day that it talked about how we aren't able to manifest things when we aren't authentic.
Ah,
Um, and I take great pride in being authentic, being original, being me. And so that it kind of threw me for a loop for a little bit. So I texted a bunch of my different friends and asked a couple different people, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how authentic do you feel that I am? And most people gave me a 9 because, they said there's always room to grow or, sometimes you have to be professional. And I'm like, right, I agree. And I had 2 friends that says, whose butt do I need to kick that don't think you're authentic?
yeah.
Just having that support. But I feel like people really miss out on a true life experience when they aren't authentic to themselves and their souls. Um, and I know being a therapist, because I'm a licensed therapist, I've been for 26 years. When I was getting to the space where I needed to step into my authentic self of this is who I am, I want to go into the spiritual work and do all of this, I couldn't be that person as a therapist because of the realm of the therapy, my therapy license. And so it just felt like I was denying a part of myself.
Hmm.
And it was icky. It didn't feel right. And I think if people live that way a long time, it affects the whole mind, body, spirit, soul. Things get trapped in the body, all of those types of things.
So even heavy stuff like illnesses,
Yes. Yes.
regrets, bitterness,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
all of these things. Wow. And how can you? Okay, it sounds like that you've always been authentic, but I will ask about your childhood in a second. But
Okay.
somebody who is trapped in that, or maybe whenever you didn't feel totally authentic, how can somebody find that courage? Because it's so. I always talk about this, like Dr. Gabor Mate's word, the attachment versus authenticity. That we want to,
Mm-hmm.
please others, fit in the family system, yet we want to live our own lives. So how can it's hard sometimes to decide.
Right.
How can you just help women out there listening? How can we choose our authenticity?
The question that I always like to ask is, what am I afraid of?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I can break it down and look at it as what is my fear? My fear of coming out and doing all the spiritual work. I live in a conservative community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very psychic, and I've had people throughout my life tell me that I'm going to hell, and all of these people throw the shame, throw the fear, throw all of that. And being a single woman, owning my own home, being a therapist, and then that realm, it's like, okay, where am I safe and where am I secure? Um, and it took courage. It also took a lot of training and finding the people to support and be around me that encouraged that role in my life and who I am, to take that step and say, okay, I'm going to face that fear and this is who I really am. And when I was able to do that, I call it, I came out of the spiritual closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did it in a presentation of like 200 women, standing up and speaking in front of all of them. And within the next 3 months, I had 42 new clients come from that because they wanted to talk to me or, and it was like, that's who I am. This is who I am. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. So once you have that courage, everything will be aligned.
Right.
And you,
Well,
yeah,
and it's again, what's the fear? What's stopping us from doing things?
yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like, yeah, I wasn't sure if to, whether to bring it up or not, the witch wounding. How you said, if it's a super conservative community, I always feel, I mean, I shouldn't be talking about this, but I just have to. So that some dogmatic, religious, constrictive structures and fears and shaming and maybe some
Mhm.
very, very, very long ago past traumas
Yes.
are kicking in.
Yes.
Oh, oh man,
Yeah.
okay. We will go deep. Okay,
Okay.
so today's guest, everyone, welcome, is Reverend Brooke Winkler, a dear friend and a role model as a woman. Oh my God, this is not what I wrote down, but this is coming from my heart.
Oh,
A
thank you.
bundle of joy and authenticity, and the most colorful person I know, literally. Beautiful. And she is a PhD candidate in mind body medicine and also a healer in many alternative healing modalities like Reiki, hypnotherapy, yoga, and an artist also, a belly dancer, and so much more. And also a brain longevity specialist. And I wanted to say it later because I have questions for you.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, and also, what I want to emphasize, which is, I think, a super important role, that she is the heart of her community, a community builder, or she is the creator of the Watt Fair and the Metaphysical Fair located in Worcester. And she just brings all the beautiful, like minded, and like hearted people together, healers and spiritual seekers, really nice people. And that's so important today to have communities like this.
Mhm.
Like what you mentioned in your being your authentic self, you kind of mentioned how finding your own tribe and people who support you. So, this is such a big thing for me, and I'm very grateful that I can be a part of that community. So thank you, Brooke. Thank you for
Oh,
being here.
yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, I have so many questions. Okay, so first of all, let's go back to that brain longevity specialist thing. Uh, those of you who don't know, I used to be a medical doctor, so I come from that very structured looking at biological health, and I also had to kind of gradually come out from the closet and merge the spiritual. As you
Hmm.
said, the mind body, that's a fascinating thing you study. You will talk about that too. So I have the same interest
Hmm.
as you in this. And I saw a lot of people when I was working in the internal medicine ward where there were a lot of elderly people, like almost geriatric ward with, yeah, Alzheimer's and even different kinds of more rare dementias. And I have this awkward question for you. Do you think there's a link between not living someone's authentic life and developing a disease like dementia, where people kind of just are checking out from their own personality, kind of, and their own life? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a link with, I mean, my doctor is going to be in mind body medicine, and how does like stored trauma and not living our authentic life and not dealing with things, how does that impact the body and the mind? So, yes, I do think there's a connection with all of that. The brain longevity specialist was fascinating to me because my grandmother had Alzheimer's. And that's how I knew her. I didn't know her as my grandma. I knew this was the woman, my grandmother that had the dementia. Um, and so just to study the different four pillars of there's so much that we can do to prevent, things developing. Um, and it's easy things, and you're supposed to be working on these 20 to 30 years before a diagnosis. So, I'm going to be 50 in 2 weeks. So, that these things just to pay attention to. Like I can eat berries for breakfast and add nuts into my, the nuts that you eat, not people.
But you
My
have them
life.
too.
Yeah, I have those too. But yeah, just simple things that we can add and change.
Oh my goodness. Could you, okay, then absolutely going just with the flow. Can you just give some tips for us? How can we prevent this awful disease?
One of the big things they're finding is called the Kirtan Kriya, which is a 14-minute chant that you can do on a daily basis, and it actually reconnects like the telomeres and helps the synapses in the brain because it helps develop them.
Oh,
And if
wow.
you actually look it up online, you can find it, and you're using mudras, and
Mhm.
you're meditating, and you're saying it at the same time, so you're using all your senses, and that's the big thing that they're finding that's helping the brain a lot.
Oh, wow. I like it.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
so funny. I'm thinking about this totally different. It's childhood thing. That in my tradition in Hungary, we have these, nursery rhymes. Yeah, everybody has, but paying attention to these hand movements with it and the rhythm for children. And you wrote
Yes.
on your Facebook page that I mean, on your website that you are so fascinated by children. And I wanted to
Uh-huh.
ask about that too. But this how we even learn at the beginning of the life and just keeping those skills and practices
Yes. And
throughout our
s-
lives.
and staying active and continually learning and using your brain. Those are some of the best things that we can do.
Oh wow.
Yep.
And you are very good at this. You are a real embodiment, not just preaching, because I will read what I found on your website and I love it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, first of all, you said, I believe that humor gets us through life and bonds us with others. I really love that. You are just a, you have a beautiful smile, and yeah, you are a laughter yoga practitioner, and you
Mhm.
will talk about that too. And if you want the real deal, I am me. Creative, fun, kind, caring, stubborn, irreverent, and goofy. I live my life happily and attempt to put my best self forward on a daily basis. I put my heart into the things I do. It's very common for me to be asked, what are you up to now? I laugh often, dance a lot, don't get enough sleep, and enjoy talking people into adventures with me. When I read
Mhm.
it, it's just a description of a real life fairy, I think. And this brings me to my next question. Were you always like this, or what were you like, like a child?
Yeah, I always spent a lot of time in my room reading. Like I read. I always won the library contest every summer is how many books you could read. And I grew up out in the country in the woods. Well, we had 20 acres, and so I used to go out and walk in the woods and just play in the creek and just had a good time doing those types of things. Yes, always. Mm-hmm.
Always. So nature, being connected with life itself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and okay, can we dive a tiny bit deeper in your family of origin? Is it
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you always feel, that you belonged, or with your cheerful, exceptional personality, did you have any hard time to fit in your family, or were you a black sheep or more like a rainbow sheep or something?
Rainbow sheep, that's cool. Um, I think what I have learned over the years, I'm very empathic. And so, like, I can feel other people's emotions. And so, a lot of times, recognizing it's not fitting
Mhm.
in, it's other people's emotions that I'm picking up on and feeling. And being psychic, I remember, I think I was like 8 years old and it was the mid 80s. And I told my mom that Bill Cosby was a bad man. And
Mhm.
that's when the Cosby Show first came out. And she was like, why would you say that? He goes around and entertains the
Oh,
troops and does all of this stuff. Well, he made my stomach hurt.
oh, wow.
And what, 20, 30 some years later, we found out, what was really going on there, that I was very accurately picking up on something. Um, and so, yeah, there's times I felt like I didn't fit in or didn't connect. And I think this spiritual piece, again, growing up in a conservative community, was like I was seeking and looking for people that could explain, like, why do you feel this way? Um, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but yeah, it's always been what am I picking up on? What's mine and what's not mine
Which
type
is so
thing.
weird for a child at an early age to be able to distinguish. It's so amazing, but so helpful. I didn't have this, unfortunately, but so from an early age on, you kind of were very conscious of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I could tell when people were hurting. Um, And like there's somebody in there's a family friend that I remember making him a little card, just a little picture, maybe like this, and I wrote on it, "I love you," and drew him a little picture. And like I said, I'm going to be 50 in 2 weeks, and if I run into him, he pulls it out of his wallet and shows it to me.
Oh,
That just I know that that impacted him on it in the time in his life when he needed it, because I could just feel it.
yeah. And you just went with it.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. I ask these questions because I'm wondering how spiritual, holding women who actually hold others, how did they have to face these adversities where they really couldn't be themselves for a while? But it seems that you were always brave enough.
But I also had to hide a lot of it too, because like as a therapist, there's limits of things that we can do. And when you interact with people, you have the rules and all the things that you have to follow. Um, and that got to a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore because I can't authentically be myself. Like, we're not supposed to touch our clients as a therapist.
Hmm.
When you have somebody sitting there spilling their heart and just like unloading and getting down to the nitty gritty dark stuff, and it's like, you just want to give them a hug.
It
But as a
feels
therapist,
unnatural. Yeah.
yeah, but as a therapist, you can't, and I'm like, that was one of the pieces. It's like, I can't do this any longer.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. And when was it? 20 years ago
I
or
I
less?
started I totally quit therapy at the end of 2019. So now I do
Uh-huh.
coaching because
Uh-huh.
I don't have that same guise of, and I think most of my clients give me a hug before they leave.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah, that
wow.
connection.
Yeah, I love that. I have so many things to ask from you, so I'm just cheating.
Oh, go for it.
Mhm. So yeah, I again emphasize that you are such a heart of the community. And what do you think, what do you see when people enter these healing places like your fairs? What are they really searching for?
I think people are looking for answers. I think there's curiosity of what is this? I think people are looking for connection. I think people are looking for, oh, there's other people out there that are like me. Um, and so I find it very interesting. Like I just recently had a client that met me 2 years ago at one of my fairs and is now going through something that she's like, it was time for me to reach out to you.
Oh,
So it's almost like it's seed planting also. Like you're planting these seeds and then they know here's the person I need when I need them.
oh
Yeah.
wow. So
Hmm.
just say that, oh, okay, I'm here, we are here, you are
Yes.
not alone.
Right.
Yeah, that's such a big thing for me because I just there's always layers to healing, and I
Hmm.
really had this misconcept that healing just happens sometime at a point and then you're good, the Western medical doctor mindset. And I really applied on myself too, that, oh, I have to do this, heal hard,
Right.
grudging pain, white knuckling through, and I just, yeah, keep realizing with also doing healing work and mainly on myself that I think I did something and it's off, feels lighter, feels true. A layer of healing is done, but there's another or maybe a spiral. And it can be so sometimes discouraging when it's a never ending thing. How would you encourage someone on the healing journey? How would you reframe this mindset that I used to have?
I always tell people we're a masterpiece and we're just not finished yet.
Mhm.
Um, and it's the layers of the onion. Like we're always peeling back, peeling back, peeling back. And I'm always like, because I've said the same thing myself, like, oh my gosh, now what? Now what do I have to be dealing with? It's, but we don't operate in a bubble. Like we go through daily life and things trigger things or things make us upset. And it's like, okay, there's another thing I need to be working through. It's just kind of like a constant um, self-investment. It's how I look at it. I want to invest in myself because I want to be the best that I can be.
Wow. So it's like normalizing to integrate it as a part of life. And like
Yes.
we eat every day, I don't know, brush our teeth every day and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same as the being awareness. While
Hmm.
being aware that, okay, we will never be at an end product. We are already a masterpiece, but just improving. And
Yes. Yeah.
Expanding, maybe expanding.
hmm Well, and like I see a therapist about once every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on, and it's just a constant thing that I know that there's somebody there that I have that I can talk to, that if I need to process anything, that'll give me honest feedback and hold me accountable if I need it. I'm also part of a mastermind group that we meet every other week that holds me accountable, and is supportive. Um, I do hypnotherapy sessions on me when I need them. Like, I go get a massage. There's things that I do just to make sure that I take care of myself in all the ways that I can.
Yes, I love this. Okay,
hmm
yeah, I wanted to ask what do you suggest to a woman who just likes to give and hold others, but it can be easy, especially for women, no, to kind of
hmm
just give, overgive, and ignore ourselves. So what would you say to them, and when was the point when you realized you needed these, or has it always been like this? Maybe.
Um, so when I was 21, I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. And that's how I really kind of got started on this healing journey of like what's going on. Um, was told it was irritable bowel, then I was told it was a gluten intolerance. So I actually went and learned how to do Reiki because I could put my hands over my stomach and that would stop. So it was like, oh, this is so cool. Um, and in the process of that, let's see, I went into private practice when it was 2010, I think, and everybody was asking for alternatives for medication for anxiety and depression.
Hmm.
And so started doing my research in meditation and yoga. And I had two of my friends who were going to go do yoga teacher training. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go with you. I've never taken a yoga class, but let me go learn this. So yoga is a great way that I also take care of myself because I do yoga like 5 times a week. Um, and so in the process of that, at the end, he told us that we had to do like an internship. And I found laughter yoga training up in Lilydale, New York. Drove up there, did my laughter yoga training, ended up staying longer, and then every summer would go back 10 days, another 10 days, 2 weeks. Um, and ended up taking a Mari training, which is a mandala assessment research instrument that you draw a picture and then it's symbol cards into color cards, and it's a complete psychological assessment of your life. And at the end of that, I was actually the next day I was sick and I'm laying there and they had this ministry program. And so I was like, the lightning's going to strike. you know, how many times
Well,
people have told me like shame and
yeah.
all of the spiritual self, and it was to be a spiritualist minister. And so I went to the training and ended up doing a 2-year ministry program
Wow.
to develop that psychic self. Um, and in the process of that, at the end, I wasn't very comfortable doing readings yet and ended up doing a 2-year mentorship with a psychic medium that's a spirit artist that's just phenomenal, Joe Shield. And at the end of that, my IBS was getting really bad. And I went and did a hypnotherapy session and found out it was all secondary trauma that was stored in my gut from being that empath and just storing everything, storing everything, storing everything. Cleared it out and never had an issue again. And I was just like, this is crazy. So I'm like, I have to learn it. Like I could heal that quickly myself. Um, Went and did a 6-day hypno training, did a 2-year hypnotherapy internship. At the end of that, I had a friend pass away. And then the following year, my grandma and another friend passed away and saw a program to start a mind body medicine program for a doctorate. And I'm like, oh, cool. I guess this is how I'm going to fill my time. Um, so here we
Always
are.
learning. Yeah.
Five years later, I will be done in the fall, but I'm doing my research on Reiki because of the energy work. And how does this all tie together? Like, because it's always kept me on this learning journey and learning journey and learning journey.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
always had this sense, this knowing from
Yeah.
since childhood that it's a whole thing.
And it was also like, how do I take care of myself? Because I am not going to be a victim. And, I don't even want to say I'm a survivor. I'm thriving. I'm doing this,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Wow.
Um, and so I have IBS. I don't have IBS. So I don't even put that message in my head. I was diagnosed with it. But what can I do to take care of myself so I don't have to rely on medications and everything else? Because there's something that needs to be healed within me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love this. And I love how
Yeah.
you emphasize that yes, empaths can develop some stuff by carrying somebody else's pain and
Yes.
shame and negative imprints. How how can we be conscious of that as healers, as empaths, not to absorb other people's stuff? How can we release?
One of the best things I learned in my ministry training was if I feel something, if this is not mine, it needs to leave my body immediately. It's
Mhm.
about how do I set energetic boundaries. So, one of the very cool things I learned is that when I am upset, and I teach people in this in a lot of my trainings, when I'm upset, I pull my energy in. So it's much easier for people to poke at me or get to me.
Uh-huh.
And so I really have to think about the example was used because I belly dance. When I belly dance, I really put my energy and just have this big, like, ball of energy around me. That's the kind of energy I have to have when I'm not feeling great or I'm going into a situation where it's easier for people to get to me because then they're not going to do it because my energy shield is much higher and much thicker.
Uh-huh. So it's a conscience protection.
It's a conscious protection. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. Hmm.
Oh,
And, in January, I found out I had breast
oh
cancer.
yes, I wanted to ask about this. Thank you for
Yes. Yes.
diving.
And when I went, so I had my my mammogram in December, went back like 3 weeks later for a follow up. Where they do a mammogram and an ultrasound, and then the radiologist came in to talk to me, and I go, "It's right here, isn't it?" And he's like looking at me. He goes, "Well, you wouldn't know that." He goes, "Because it's no bigger than the head of a pencil."
Mm.
And I said, "But for the last 3 months, this is where my hand has wanted to go. Like I'm sitting there and I just really want to put my hand here." And he said, "Well, sometimes our bodies know before our minds." Right. Right. And so in the process of, I mean, it was like a whirlwind. I had like 27 doctor's appointments in like 2 months, like boom, 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 surgery, got it out, radiation, all of this stuff. And so in my healing, I upped my therapy appointments to weekly. I made sure I was getting taken care of. I got massages. I did hypnotherapy because I'm like, is there the mind body connection? And I did two different hypno sessions. And the first one was all of my grief because within 4 years, I had five of my close friends and my grandma pass away. And we don't do a great job of dealing with grief. We just,
Oh,
we don't,
absolutely.
and I've said many a times, we have grief support groups for parents that lose their children, or you lose your parents, or you lose your spouse. But when it's your friends and that's like your chosen family and the people that you spend all your time with, it's rough, and so a lot of this was grief, and so process through that. And then the second, we'll go out on a limb here, the
Huh.
second hypnotherapy session I went to, um, I saw myself coming in as an infant, and it was like I got to choose if I was living a divine life this time or if I was just going to be like living the regular life. And my friend that did the session on me, she's like, "Well, can you go to the person?" Because there was like this divine figure. And I'm like, "No, I have to be chosen." And so I was chosen to live a divine life. And so throughout this hypno session, I was saying, I got to look at my soul contract. Not that I could see anything, but I went down and I said, I didn't agree to 15 and 17, and I don't want those on there anymore. Because even though I'm living a divine life and I'm here to help, our world, I'm still a human being. I'm
Mm.
a soul having a human experience, and there's things that I want to experience in my life. So there was like this divine council talking and murmuring, and they came back, and I was told I'm working on a book, and I was told I have to finish that, and it was agreed to, and it was just a wild experience.
Oh my gosh. I think those of those of us who are listening, we all have this belief. So it's a safe place to talk about this, and
Yeah,
we all are starving for sharings like this. And I
yeah.
really love this. And that is, yeah. I wanted to ask what this journey taught you. Was there any deep revelation that came?
Well, and one of the things I was told is even though this was my grief, that the cancer journey was not about me. It was lessons for other people in my life. And I
Mhm.
was just like, that's very interesting because it just feels like a blip on the radar screen. Um, I was complaining the other night, we were out walking, my neighborhood walks together, and I was so tired. And because I'd worked out in my yard all day, and my neighbor's like, you do remember it's only been like 2 months since you've had radiation and 3 months since surgery. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
you know, like give yourself your body a break to recover.
Yes. But I love
Yeah.
that you do because I see, yeah, we talked about this with them, but you saw that that is a lot of spiritual teachings or false teachings now getting into this not victim shaming but almost almost this spiritual abuse that everything is your fault, your responsibility. You can approach it that way too.
Hmm.
And on the other side there's the absolutely denial, in
Hmm.
some people who are not spiritual, very materialistic and very busy living
Yeah.
their lives. And where is the healthy middle? I'm wondering, even with spirituality, to learn from this, yet no, we are human, yet maybe acknowledge that now a lot of symptoms, it's not necessarily personal, as you said, that it can be a
Right.
teaching, it can be a ancestral heaviness that finally just merging to the surface. What do you think
Mhm.
about this?
I agree. And this is what I want to talk about for a minute. Like, I have a couple people in my life that when I get upset about something, they're immediate, like, oh, just let it go. You just need to let it go.
Ah, I want to punch.
Yes. I'm like, am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yes, please.
Because I'm like, just let me have my fucking emotions. And I have to point out to him, you're the one that's uncomfortable with my anger. That's not, I'm allowed to be angry. I'm allowed to be upset. I'm allowed to have my feelings. But people so quickly want to, like, oh, you need to let that go. No, I don't. No, I don't. I can let it go when I'm ready to let it go. But right now, I need to process it. I need to feel it, especially, and let myself like work through it. Um, and so I think going back to my childhood, a lot of times I wasn't allowed to have anger or
Mhm.
and it's like, no, 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 we're not doing that. I'm gonna have my feelings, I'm gonna have my emotions. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, in the previous interview, it's not on YouTube yet, but I talk about an emotional integration coach. And it's so aligned with that. We need to talk more about this, especially for women. Because
Yes.
this be a good girl culture, anger is not allowed. And oh my gosh, I just love Dr. Gabor Mate's work when he's testing the audience. Sometimes, if you saw that absolutely going too close and invading the personal space, and the people have to verbalize that, yeah, I feel anger. So it's for boundaries, for protection. Please talk
Yeah.
more about this. Women, listen. I mean, we had so many lies about this and so many health issues, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so being a therapist as many years as I have and as a coach, what I tell people now is have the feeling, express it. Let's work through it. But a lot of people have so much shame in putting it out there. And I'm like, you're allowed to have bad thoughts. I'm like, there's a lot of times I'd like to kick people in the teeth. I said, but what I'm responsible for is how I respond to it. I'm like, I'm not going to do that because I'm an intelligent person. I don't want to go
Yeah.
to jail. But I can also have that feeling and allow myself to work through it. So I actually do, I take Taekwondo.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yes, please talk.
Yes.
Oh,
And
wow.
and I want to do it because it's like that gives me that expression that I can do it. When I do the hypnotherapy sessions, we have an irrigation hose that people are allowed to beat down on things. Like, get it out. Get it out. You don't want your body to keep holding on to it.
It's so
Yeah.
important. I love that you say that. I had this theory recently because I never was this pretty girly girl. All
Hmm.
my life in teenagehood, I was wearing like military pants, Metallica t-shirt, whatever, very wide boots. But I always felt I was a female. And
Uh-huh.
the word kind of, I just want to talk about the aggression and even the aggressive sports or martial arts or physically getting a tiny bit aggressive, that I just have this feeling that women can be more feminine when they integrate even
Right.
that part of healthy aggression, like that animal like wolf like healthy. And I love that when you said martial art and taekwondo. Please, yeah, talk more about this. What do you think? Have you
Well,
experienced any change with your femininity since you are doing this?
yeah. Let me talk about it in a minute. I just want to go back to say though, too, being a therapist and also being a minister, I get shamed. Oh, you shouldn't, you're a minister. You shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. Like, and who are you to judge how a minister or how a therapist should act? Again, there's that shame that people want to put towards. I'm like, forget that.
That's
Um,
terrible. Shame and guilt. Oh.
I So I had to stop the taekwondo, went through the cancer journey.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'll be starting to back up again. But there was just something about, I don't know, like broke a board or you're kicking something and it's very powerful. And it's also coming into your center, like I can protect myself,
Ah.
and so it's like, I feel like you walk differently, like you carry
Hmm.
yourself differently because there's just that sense of like, I can kick your ass if I need to.
Wow. And I really think that's part of being feminine
Uh-huh.
for some reason. That, yeah, really not that weak. I really don't like these concepts. They are always pissing me off.
Uh-huh.
That what a female should look like, feminine energy, and this absolute misconcept. And it's the same with spirituality, that you have to be soft all the time and you watch your mouth. Oh, don't say poo poo, do do, bad word. I mean, oh my God. Seriously? I mean,
Well,
and what about just looking at the animal world? I mean, you have animals too, and please talk
yes.
about it, what you see. But my cat was pregnant when it was very cold out and gave birth in the winter, and we watched the whole process. And oh my goodness, that instinct, that strength, and it's a female being, and human females just absolutely have this misconcept.
Hmm.
We should hear that, or we should normalize the being strong, being authentic, sometimes cursing, not all the time, not with a foul mouth, but when it's
Right.
authentic and when it has a point, and even
Right.
strength, aggression, self protection. Oh my gosh. Thank you for bringing it up. And I can feel in your energy that, yes, that's part of your authenticity.
Hmm.
Not lying to yourself
Yeah.
and denying immediately and suppressing the stuff.
Hmm. And I think my femininity comes out a lot through belly dancing because
Oh, I
that's a
love
very, so it's like I've got the balance. I've got the aggressive, I've got that's more energetic, and then I have the yoga that's the calm zen.
Yes,
Yeah.
whatever you need.
Yep.
And is it okay? It's a stupid question. I already know. I think what you will say, but for people who really want to have balance and they have this misconcept about balance that you have to do the same things every day. Same masculine, same feminine, same amount of veggies, same amount of meat, or whatever. What does balance look like to you?
Oh gosh, what does balance look like to me? Um, the fighter jets are flying over right now for Memorial Day, so I can hear them. Um, what does balance look like for me? I think when I feel balanced, it's like I can just relax in a way. Like I want to keep my house clean, but I want to make sure I get a walk in. I want to make sure like I'm doing certain things. It's like, how do I meet my needs to feel balanced? Um, so I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
Yes, when you said that you meet your own needs, so always being pretty much aware and always give what you need in that
mhm,
moment, and
yeah,
not just following a strict schedule, maybe. Or
yeah,
hmm.
yep.
Oh wow. I love that. I have more questions. Don't worry.
Oh,
I
go
don't even
for it.
know. I don't think I even asked the second on this paper. Oh yeah. Okay. So here comes again the feminine misconcept. What emotional wounds do you see most commonly in women today in your practice, in your environment?
Um, shame. Shame and guilt is the two, I think, the catalyst for most things because um doing coaching, doing the hypnotherapy, doing the spiritual work that I do, people come in and it's like, this is what's going on. And it's like, where's that shame coming from? Um, And it's again having that courage to step past that and look at, why am I still holding on to this? How am I going to let it go?
Wow.
Yeah.
And where does it come from?
Society, I think our family, growing up, our experiences where something didn't go great. Um, I had a wonderful experience in my hypnotherapy training where we put out in front of everybody what we were most ashamed. Like, this is the things I wouldn't want you to know about me, and talked about them. And what I learned from that experience is nobody cares. It's
Mm.
ourselves that's holding on to it, and nobody else really could care less about what you're ashamed of. Like, they're like, oh, well, I don't care, you know.
That's
Yeah.
so powerful. I think we should, listen to this formation more that, yeah, we are too self centered. Maybe it's our ego that thinks
Hmm.
that everybody is looking at us and, oh my God, yeah, the one
Yeah.
naked person in the room and these
Yeah.
recurring naked dreams, maybe. But it's so, so important that everybody has their own package and their own lives and they are too busy to care about you, pretty much. Or,
Right. Right. We have an elevated self-importance. Yes.
wow,
Hmm.
this is so healing to hear. Even for me, I know this with my mind, but you saying it, and just it's out there, it's, oh my
Yeah.
God, then why not? Then why not live my life?
Yeah. Right.
Wow, that's very powerful. And do you feel and see this shame and guilt pattern in your own family nowadays, or they are kind of healing with you, or they never had it?
That's an interesting question within family. And so, like, I have my blood relatives, and I also have my chosen family of, like, my friends and stuff that I so and I think it's a mix. I
Uh-huh.
think some people want to do the work, and are working on themselves, and I think other ones are like, no, I'm comfortable and I don't want to do anything else. So, and it's just being aware of, who do I want close and who do I want closer.
Yes, I love it. Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
And how do you deal with that as a healer and as somebody who really genuinely wants to help people? With that helpless feeling, so called, when somebody who's very important to you doesn't want to do anything, doesn't want to do any work on themselves.
Um, Let me think about how to answer that. Um, I have stepped back from certain people in my life
Hmm.
because I want other authentic people in my life that support me. I don't want the fake stuff. I don't want the superficial stuff. Like, I want to have these deep conversations with people in my life because it's cool, and you feel closer and you feel such a connection. And the people in my life that don't want that, it's like, I'm not going to kick them out, but I don't spend as much time with them, or I don't put as much energy into that because it's not fulfilling to me.
Wow, that, yeah, that's such a
And I
good advice.
and I want that reciprocal relationship. Like,
Yeah, when you get stuff back to, not because
yeah.
it's a scale and you are measuring everything, but because of the feeling of the energy exchange and the
Hmm.
expansion.
And I think even now, the clients that I work with, they're also seeking that. So, it's so rewarding and heartwarming for me to work with the people that I do, because they bring so much to me watching them do their work, and just, and they care about me too. So, it's different, and it's just so joyful for me.
Oh my gosh, I just love this. I think this is an important and very overlooked thing in a healer, especially when there's like pressure of money. Once I heard a Hungarian shaman, a healer man, saying that just don't be a healer of everyone. See or have that gut feeling. Who would you hug, or who do you feel this call to, and
Mhm.
who you cannot hug sincerely, you are not the healer of that person. What do you think of
Mhm.
this?
I would agree because I look at it, I don't do a whole lot of advertising, and I feel that the people that find me are the ones that want to do the work. And it's almost like they're divinely guided. And I've had people say, somebody gave me your name, or you just popped up, or I met you 2 years ago at your fair. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. And now I know I'm ready to do the work.
Wow,
Yeah.
and it feels good in your
Yes.
stomach too. Or where do
Mhm.
you feel? Where is the body sensation when you feel your own
Oh,
truth?
everything's my stomach. Like, oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you have a problem maybe when your illness with your irritable bowel syndrome? Did you ever have a problem with not having this connection with your body, this gut feeling or instinct?
No, I think part of my learning journey has been to because wanted to know what it was. Like, why do I have this feeling? Um, and when people want to shame the spiritual connection or shame the psychic feelings, that there's two examples that I give. The first was as a therapist, I was working with a teenage girl and my stomach was just screaming at me the whole time during her session. And I'm like, what's going on? Because I said, my stomach's screaming at me. Oh, nothing, nothing, nothing.
Uh-huh.
She left and I went up and called her mom. And I said, I don't know what's going on because she's not giving me anything. I said, but my stomach was screaming at me this whole time she was there. And I just needed to let you know that because something's not right. And the mom thanked me, called me later that night. She left work immediately and went home. And there was a suicide note on the girl's desk that she was going to go home and kill
Oh
herself.
my
And
gosh.
so mom was waiting for her and, took her to the hospital. And so that I'm like, no, I knew something was not right because my stomach was screaming at me. And then another time back in the day when they used to write out prescriptions, this was back when I first had irritable bowel syndrome, and they gave me a prescription and he handed it to me and it felt like it burnt my hand and I dropped it. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to take that. Well, I got a letter in the mail 2 years after that they stopped the medication because what they found was it was calcifying people's intestines. And they killed a couple people. And I'm like, this is why it felt like it burnt my hand because I wasn't supposed to take it and I never did. Um, and so it's like, again, there's that divine guidance of it's not bad, it's not evil, it's protecting me in a lot of ways. And so when people want to say it's evil and it's bad, no, it's not. And
Oh,
just the downloads that I get when I'm working with people, that I get like an odd question and I'm like, this just popped in my head, but I need to ask you this. And it takes the conversation in a direction it needed to go, you know. So yeah, it's
you are
just so
very good at
cool.
following it.
Yes. But it was learning throughout my life of why is this happening to me? Why is this coming in?
And
It's
so,
my gift.
yes, it's amazing. And do you think women can learn this or relearn it, being connected with their instincts? And
Yes.
also, there's another question, it's the second part. How can we distinguish between a gut feeling that is a signal or just an immense fear that is blocking us from stepping out to the
Mhm.
world or following our own path? Because sometimes we can confuse these feelings, I think, in our bodies.
Yeah. Um, I think everybody can learn, and I think everybody does have it. I think we've learned to shut it down because the shame or the guilt, or we don't talk about that or whatever. I ask for signs. And so, like, I have my gut sense and I'm pretty much trusted 100%. But
Hmm.
part of my growth and development was learning to trust. And why am I getting these things? Because I wanted to know. But when I started asking for signs, I get signs all the time. Um, like when I decided that I was going to quit my job and start my business. So 2018 is when I got it all started. Like the signs, the one I love this story. So I was driving one day and I was just mad at the world with work. And I'm like, all right, universe, if you want me to open up a wellness center, then you just prove it to me. I'm like, prove it. I need the space. I need the money. I need the time. Like, just prove it to me. And I'm really arrogant, and saying all this. I went over and saw my sister and we went to the fair and I got home that night and there was a check in the mail for $1,300. And I'm looking at this check and I'm like, okay, I'm either going to crap my pants or laugh my butt off here. Like the universe just proved it to me. Like I did not just say this 5 hours earlier. So I went to the bank the next day and I asked them, like, is this a legitimate check? And they're like, it is, but call to see where it's coming from because, you know, so this was 2018. When I called, I had a credit card back in 2010 that way overcharged me on the interest rates, and there was a lawsuit, and they had owed me this money from back in 2010. Now, in 2010 is when I did my yoga teacher training, and my friends, and when we would drive over, we used to talk about someday I wanted to open up a wellness center.
Oh my gosh.
And so that check showed up on the day that I was like, all right, prove it to me. Well, the universe proved it to me. And I was like, okay, well, now I have to do it. Like,
Wow.
so I get signs and everybody laughs like I'm a master manifester. Like, yeah, all the time. Um, but it's just, yeah, give me a sign. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do next? Like, prove it to me.
So you are in a very organic, alive relationship with the oneness, with life itself, and you when you are not 100% certain, you just ask for feedback,
Yep. Yep.
support, and
Yeah.
confirmation.
Give me signs. And it just happens.
That's awesome. That's a very good advice. Okay, so whoever you are just learning how to distinguish the gut feeling from the fear-based reaction, that's a great answer. I love that. Okay, do it like Brooke.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes it's a song that comes on. Um, you know, when I when I was interested in going to school, it was showed up on a Saturday night. I put information in and they called me on a Monday afternoon. And I was in my art room and I'm talking to this woman thinking, why do I want to go back to school? Like this, like, duh, like, why do I want to do this? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. I had a cardinal land in the tree outside of my window and look at me. And I'm like, right then, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Mm,
I didn't ask about money. I didn't ask about how long it was going to take. I didn't, nothing. I'm just like, okay, I'm signing up.
yeah,
Just that
and,
trust.
and I love this, and I know this works too, because whenever I just make a decision, it's not, there's also a difference. I see in some people who are not connected with themselves and with life and always in their busy minds, they can be, very anxious and just making very abrupt decisions that are not the good decisions. And
Yeah.
on the other hand, I had that happen to me too. And on the other hand, when it comes from this deep trust and joyous feeling, there's nothing bad about it, just maybe some excitement that you misinterpret to anxiety and you just jump. And
Yeah.
and yeah, the force will catch you, the universe, God. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it's funny because like if I go plant shopping, I'm like, I know which ones want to come home with me when I touch them. So I
Wow.
tell my friends, I go, start smacking my hands. I've got like 70 house plants now.
And those all alive. So you
Yeah.
chose
Yeah.
good.
Like here's some of them up here. You can
Oh,
see them.
yes. Oh, that's awesome. That's beautiful.
So I got tons of them. Yeah. But it's that energy.
Yeah, and you follow the energy.
hmm
Oh
Yep.
my gosh. I know the first time I ever heard of this, I was in high school. My final exam, we had to do written exam to get out of high school, or a presentation, and we had like hundreds of topics, and they were turned upside down, like cards. And my friend's mom told me that, oh, you just move your hand above it, and whichever burning your hand, that's yours. And that's what I did, and I couldn't believe that I learned like two of them or three. that was, that's true. Follow the energy, and
Uh-huh.
people, and I think children. Okay, talk about children. Why are you fascinated by them? I I think they are very instinctual, and they have this connection and knowledge, and they
hmm
follow it.
Well, and there's such innocence with kids. When I was a therapist, I worked with kids mostly.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Didn't
and there
know.
was such enjoyment working with them because the curiosity and like they weren't afraid to ask questions. And
Hmm.
I think what I needed when I was that age was to have somebody that helped me with the empath and the signs and all of that stuff. And so Like I have two little neighbor girls that they help me put out my fairy garden every year.
Oh,
And there's just the magic with it. And then there's a couple of little kids down the street that come up and check it out. And it's fun because they still believe in the magic,
oh yeah.
and I think as we get older, we lose that. And so it's helping them remember that it's still there.
That's beautiful. I love that about kids too, and your inner child. But I'm sensing you have a very good relationship with your inner child.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I love the magic and the fun stuff. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I just, as I said, when I read, your self description, that is very accurate. So you have a very good insight on yourself that it's a fairy. It's a human
Uh-huh.
fairy. So
Uh-huh.
tell me about fairies. Do you believe in the fairies? And is your book? Let's talk about your book too. Is it about fairies? And do you want to share some?
Um, okay. So the book that I'm writing, all of my friends that passed away, I wrote all of their eulogies and my grandma's because that was a way for me to process some of my grief and to remember the stories, the things that, the special moments that I had with them, and also to share it with other people. And so when I got the idea to write this book, I'm like, well, it needs to be about this little gangle of girls. And they're going to be fairies. And so they're going to school and they're learning about their gifts. It's a special school for, special needs, but their special need is their empaths and,
Mm,
and they're helping other people. And so I've been able to make the characters after one of each of my friends. So their personalities are coming through with that. And they're learning how to protect their energy. They're learning how to develop their gifts. And, one of them is very sensitive and picks up on all the negative stuff and, doesn't know why. And so she's learning in school how to handle that and deal with it. Hmm.
I just love it. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful to process deep stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's the book that I have to finish. So,
Oh, when will it be out there?
oh geez, well, I still have to finish my dissertation too. So,
Okay, all right. Okay. All
you
right.
know,
But just let us know.
I will. I will. It's
Oh,
exciting.
wow.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. I have tons of questions. I'm still, I think, just asked two of them from the
Let's go
paper.
for it.
Okay. All right. What does it mean to you to hold space for others?
What does it mean to hold space for others? To sit with a person where they're at in that moment and just hold that space is to allow them to have their feelings, allow them to have their emotions, maybe be a mirror, a container to help them hold it, and just work with them to let them know they're safe and they're okay.
Wow. That feels so non-judgmental to me. That is rare these
It's ver-
days.
it's very sacred. Um, I feel it's very much an honor to do the work that I do because what people share with me, they're not going to be sharing with anybody else, and it's just an honor to be in that space with them.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. And do you think maybe it's the same as the previous question? I'm not sure. Some for some reason this comes up. So yeah, women who really have the intention to hold space for others but feel very depleted, and they sometimes question themselves that, oh, is it a genuine intention from me? What is your advice for them?
So if I know that I'm not in a space to hold space for somebody, I might say, I need to cancel your appointment today or I need to reschedule just because I'm not where I need to be. Um, I'm also very good at if something's going on, I can set things aside and come back to what I need to because you're the person that's in front of me right now and you're my focus. I can do that very easily because I mean, people are important to me. I want to be again the best that I can be for them in that moment. Um, and the being depleted, um, again, it's that self-care. It's taking care of ourselves. And so like I have that continuous self-care to make sure that I'm being taken care of. Like I take my dog for a walk twice a day. Um, I make sure I get out and spend time with my friends because that brings my energy back up. I need to sit down and read a book. I need to take a nap. I listen to those things that I need for myself, so I'm not depleted.
So it's very important to
Hmm.
acknowledge and distinguish between being a martyr and being somebody who can actually help. And
Yeah,
for that, you need self care. That's a must.
yeah, yeah. And It was very hard for me when I had my surgery and stuff. Like I wasn't allowed to do yoga for a whole month, and it's just like Um, and that one of the things my therapist talks to me about, she's like, you teach yoga, but it's also part of your coping. And when that gets taken away from you, your anxiety level goes up. And so it was like, okay, so then what do I do to help myself? Because I can't do my normal coping right now. I read a ton of books because I haven't been able to read a lot because of school. So it's like, okay, this is something else I can do. I can get out and walk the dog for a little bit or just get outside.
Wow, I love that. So I feel that instead of being rigid with even your practices, just be super flexible and creative.
hmm Yeah.
Wow, I love that. And speaking of creativity, not sure if the recording was on when we talked about that, but you are a wonderful artist too. And
Thank you.
can you just talk about that behind you that
Yes.
you made that and it's so beautiful. I always love when I sit down with
There.
you and I just see this beautiful bag. Oh my gosh, look at that.
And so I call this Do You See What I See? Because these are paper towels and Dixie cups and coffee filters and kitchen scrub brushes because when you look at those things, they're just boring items. But then when you put it in this picture, it's like, oh no, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And so it's how do we see things, you know?
Wow, how do we choose to see things? I just
Mhm.
love it. That is so beautiful. I mean, that's, yeah, the point of life to see and find the beauty. And
Mhm.
and sometimes it's hard, and you had this tough journey with the cancer. And how do you keep your joy? You are so, because there are those people who always like smiling, but it's not a genuine smile. You know what I'm saying? And they are
Mhm.
kind of in denial. A lot of women, at least in my environment too. And you are really someone who can really be there, really so joyful and find this beauty. But sometimes it's hard. How
Mhm.
can we do this when it's fucking hard? Sorry.
No, I think part of that is when things are hard, it's honoring that it's hard and just taking that moment to be like, I'm having a moment and I just need to honor that. Um, I I mean, I have my moments, but like I keep a gratitude journal on my Facebook page and I'm up to like 1,280 entries. Some days I miss, I sometimes I take a month or two off, but it's finding those little things every day in life that bring us joy. Um, I think my picture last night was Baxter was sitting, that's my dog, was sitting behind me on the couch and I was eating a piece of rhubarb pie and his head's like right here, like, but it makes me laugh. And so sharing those things with other people of this brings me joy. Um, I also am a person that if things scare me, then I want to dive into it because, um, and I go back to when I first did my internships because I'm a social worker. I had to do two internships, and I actually went and worked in, it was called Apple Creek Developmental Center. So it was people back then, it was called mental retardation. And so that population scared me. And so I'm like, I'm going to go do my internship there. Absolutely loved it. And the next one I did, I went into the Wayne County Jail because of that population scared me. Learned a lot, not the population I wanted to work with, but it's like if this scares me, I want to just face it.
Oh my gosh. Oh
And
wow.
so
Yes.
like
Oh.
um my grandma always helped me sew, my grandma, my aunt, and so my grandma passed away. I have a sewing machine, but I never used it because it intimidated me. And I'm like, why am I doing that? So I signed up and took a sewing class. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't scare me anymore. So I love to thrift store shop. So I found this cool skirt. So I hemmed it up because it was like for a 9 foot tall person. It was way, way long, and I belly dance so I can make my own belly dance clothes because it's like, why let it intimidate me? Just face it and deal with it.
That resonates with me so much. Yeah, probably we have so many similar traits because we were born on the same day. So,
Uh-huh.
but I just remembered, I totally forgot this, but when you talked that I chose medical school when I was freaking out, even just from seeing the skull in biology class, or even from the blood, and the concept of death absolutely terrified me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just forgot this motive. That,
Hmm.
yeah, I wanted to explore what I was scared of. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That is that is deep shadow work.
Yeah.
So you are just instinctually follow that. Most people, and most and a lot of things except for this one I remember, I would be terrified and just maybe instinctually avoid it. And
Hmm.
you, instead of that, just have this curiosity that, okay, what's here? What is
Yeah.
scaring me?
Hmm.
That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. How can someone who never done that and kind of very anxious, like, okay, talking about a very busy, almost burnt out woman, how can somebody start out on this authenticity journey, and how can someone who is pretty much almost, yeah, burnt out, pessimistic, start doing this, finding beauty, asking questions, being curious instead of very tired and burnt out? How could you shift that?
So where my brain goes was back like 2018, 2019 when I started my own business. Like, and I was working full time as a therapist, plus trying to do this on the side and get things up and running. And, my friend passed away, and like it was just like, that
Hmm.
ick feeling.
Hmm.
Um, I tried to flip the script. And so knowing that my last month at work, I just wanted to be done, not with my clients, but just the energy and
Yeah.
everything. And so I started doing the 25 days of giving back. And in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, each day I did something to give back because it completely flipped how I looked at that period of time. And now I'm up to, what was that, 2019? It's 2026. This is what, 7, 8 years now. And I it's so much work, but I look so forward to it because I get out into the community, I'm doing things, and it just, that time in between Thanksgiving and Christmas is already stressful. But this just adds such a wonderful, you know, I, I don't know how to describe it. Like, one of the things I did the last 2 years is I invited everybody in my neighborhood over for Christmas dinner at my house on like a
Oh,
Tuesday night. So I make up the invitations and I'll do like the ham and cheesy potatoes and a dessert, and everybody brings stuff. And it's just such a wonderful sense of community. And, then they help. I'll come help you set up. I'll help you tear down. I'll pay for the invites. It just brings that. And it all started because I was being pissy about having to finish up my last month of work, you know. But every day I do something to give back in that time frame. And so being burnout, it's flipping the script. What can I do to change it? What can I do to look at it differently? What do I maybe need to say goodbye to? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah.
oh my, this is absolutely beautiful. And I'm sensing, yeah, being honest with yourself, curious. But what you did, it's pretty much you just decided you don't want to be that miserable and
Hmm.
then did the work. So the action came first and then the feeling
Yeah.
followed, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot
Yep.
of times, especially spirituality, can suggest or mislead that, oh, just find that feeling. But sometimes you cannot find the feeling first, so you have to do some stuff
Yeah.
practically. I love,
Yep.
I love how you did that. That's so important. So you can manifest and
Hmm.
be in this flow, and also you are a human being and you acknowledge that, yeah, we have to do stuff in order to get stuff out of them.
And what's been so funny to me, because I work out of my house and my house is bright and colorful and just happy. And how
Yes.
many people come to my house and they look around and they tell me, I've always been afraid of color. And they're like, I walk into your house and somebody described it like it's a womb, like it's safe and nurturing, protective. And it just makes me happy because of all the colors and the joy that's in here. And it's like, yeah, I think a lot of times people are afraid to live. And, I'm not like, I want my color. I want all the joyful stuff that brings me happiness. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And yeah, that's the energy I feel about you. It's absolutely holding with ease. That
Hmm.
that's what holding with ease and joy, not with sacrifice and everything is heavy. We should
Yeah.
relearn these women. I mean, I know a lot of women who struggle with that and taking
Hmm.
everything so seriously, including
Right.
myself. And just, oh my God, we have this one life now, at least now, and just, oh my God. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think I take myself too seriously. I mean, and if I do, then I'm like, what am I doing? Because yeah, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy things.
I think that's so humble, actually. It might not sound that to some people who are not used to it, but this is being real humble. That we are just a small something in this big plan, and why not to bring our best selves and have fun?
Hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
And oh God, and what would you say? Okay, I'm jumping to the back. So many questions, but yeah, what would you advise to a woman who is feeling stuck and very gray and fragile and brittle instead of being this joyful and aligned?
I think it's really getting to the root of what is it that they want. You know, I mean, there's things in my life that I want that I can't magically make happen, but I can go about doing other things to find happiness and joy in other areas. Um, and I like it with my job back when I was doing therapy. I mean, I loved my clients. It was great. Money was wonderful. And I mean, how many normal people decide they're going to cut their income into like a third of what they used to make? Probably not even that, probably a fourth of what I used to make to work for themselves. But money's not what drives me. I mean, I have to have it to survive, but it's all the other stuff that's so much more important to me. And it's again, what is it that you really want? What's truly important to you?
So be very honest
Hmm.
and then be brave. I still don't think I can give advice to somebody to just be brave. How can you teach someone to just be brave
Yeah.
who forgot how to be brave and how to be childlike? What would you?
Well, and again, it goes back to that. What are you afraid of?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, why can't I dance up and down the street if I want to dance up and down the street? And little kids in the neighborhood, they'll dance up and down the street with me and, no questions. Hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Honesty and maybe go back there and just keep working on that if you couldn't solve it.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. So much more. Yeah. Ah, yes. Okay. So what do you think? What misconceptions exist about being a strong woman?
Um, from my experience, I get people that think you're a therapist and you're a minister, so you're really nice, and then they try to take advantage of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then they're very surprised when I put my foot down or I say something, and then I'm the bad person. I'm not the bad person. I'm holding people accountable for their behavior. And I think that's part of being the strong woman of you don't have to put up with stuff and you can hold people accountable. Um, what are some other misconceptions? I don't really know. I'd have to ask people what their conceptions are about me because
Mm-hmm.
again, the people that I keep around me are also authentic and support me and love me and, you know, yeah,
Yeah,
it's good. It's not negative.
that's so good. Yeah, okay, but I like that again boundaries.
Yeah.
Showing sometimes your teeth if you have to.
Yeah. And me as a business owner, I just hired an attorney to help me with copywriting and trademarking and how do I protect myself legally because I'm not getting a doctorate and spending all this time doing research and education to have somebody else come in and try to take my stuff and present it as their own.
Uh-huh.
Like we're not doing that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so weird when it's just such for some of us it's such a journey to get here. You need
Hmm.
so much hurt and giving your energy away and so much disappointment to get
Hmm.
here that you finally say that no, I put my foot down. I love that and set
Yeah.
my boundaries. And that can be, yeah, why do people mix it up with being, the kind and, you know, if you're kind, you cannot have boundaries. If you have boundaries, you are a bitch or what is going
Right.
on? So weird.
Well, and there's that whole concept now. There's two of them. The ones that let it go, and the other one is
I
brain
don't
fart
know.
again. Can you tell I'm going through perimenopause? The thought comes in and right there it goes. Woo! Um, the let it go, and I don't know what the other one was that was coming through my head, but we don't have to let things go because again, we have emotions, we have
Mhm.
feelings, and if I don't like what you did, I might want to point it out to you because if I care about you, I don't want you to do it again, you
Yeah.
know, and I care about our relationship, so that's important to me.
Yeah, it's so important that this, oh, let it go. Who is so generous about these? Normally, those are the people who take advantage of others,
Right.
and they can generously let that go.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, it's so important for a healer, and especially for a giving woman
Hmm.
to relearn these things. So many misconcepts still.
Hmm.
But
I
yeah,
agree.
oh my gosh, that's okay. What else? I have no. I want you to give me the secret of life today, all of the knowledge you have, and squeeze it out from you as if we couldn't meet next time.
Oh.
Another one. What does feminine power mean to you now compared to like 10 or 20 years ago?
Hmm. Well, 20 years ago, I would have been 30. Where my head goes, I think stepping into my own power was recognizing how I wanted to live my life and that true, authentic piece of I don't want to have to hide aspects of myself in order to fit into this role. Like I'm going to burst that open and I'm going to be, this is me. This is what you see is what you get. Um, and I think part of that feminine power is if I don't like something, I'm not going to do it. And that's kind of my philosophy with my work. If I don't enjoy this, I'm not doing it anymore. Um,
Mhm.
and standing in that power of this is what matters to me. This is what's important. This is who I want to be.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. And is there anything else you would add in the aspect of who are you becoming now in this season of your life? Or is there a picture in your mind who you want to become from here? Oh, you're good. You're good. Just,
Um, well, it's interesting because the last, well, August will be year 6 of my doctorate. And people have asked me what that experience has been like, and wonderful. I've learned so much and like stretched myself in many ways, but it's also been a very lonely journey because people don't understand how much of your focus and your intention is on doing the work and your own growth and the focus. Um, and so who am I becoming? I'm very much looking forward to being done with my degree. But I also feel like it's going to catapult me in other directions of where my attention and focus is supposed to go. Um, and in true Brooke fashion, I've already signed up for another training
of course.
um, to be a cancer exercise specialist because you know it's like it goes for my yoga teacher training, and it was just
Oh
something that I'm
my God.
like I've been through it and I've had some crappy experiences and I don't want other people to go through that. I want to make it better. And I'm also signed up for another training next spring to keep going off my hypnotherapy training. Um, so who am I
Wow.
becoming? I'm just open to whatever message the divine universe sends to me, like, Brooke, I think this is what you're supposed to do next. Okay, let's do it.
I
Yeah.
just love it how you trust and follow, and universe
Mhm.
proves you right with this.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Okay.
And it's funny because people have asked me, about like, what are you doing next? And I said, my concern with what's next is always been like financial. Like, what am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? And I want to go back and touch on that because when I was getting ready to quit my job and I hadn't turned my notice in yet, thinking about it, it was there, but I did a hypnotherapy session, and what my concern was is why do I always feel like I don't have enough money?
Hmm.
And went back and dealt with something that was my early childhood. And then my next part I went into, and I was watching them hang Jesus on the cross and went into a complete emotional meltdown Um, and I'm not religious, have never been religious, but I'm very spiritual. And I could hear Jesus in my ear go, "It's okay. I'm not there. It's okay. I'm not there." I started spitting out like all of this biblical stuff, and I was just like quoting scripture, and I'm like, where is this coming from in my brain? Like,
Mhm.
I could have never done that. Um, and anyways, we worked through the whole session, and I'm like, but what does this have to do with money? And Jesus said in my ear, he's like, "You're here to teach. Go teach." I was like, "Oh, okay." So turned my notice in the next week at work and quit my job. And again, I said making money as a therapist versus making money as a small business owner and going through school and doing all of this stuff. When I think about what's the next step, I have a huge student loan to pay for, but I'm also like, this is catapulting me to the level that I need to be to work with people on different levels, and I'll be taken care of because I'm following my sole purpose. I'm following what I'm supposed to do, and I'm here to teach, and it's time for me to do more teaching.
That is such a beautiful, it's even a beautiful closing line, but I want something more from you. But oh my gosh, that if you follow your own destiny and
Hmm.
not fate, but destiny, you will be taken care of. That is, wow, that's, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, then I don't know, whatever. I wrote here a lot of questions, but oh, just one more. Uh, what do you think is the difference between spiritual bypassing and genuine healing? And do you see people who just want the cheap dopamine, spirituality, and quick resolve?
Yeah. That whole let it go philosophy,
Okay. Okay.
I think, is very much spiritual bypassing because, again, we're not acknowledging our feelings. We're not looking at what's causing me to react this way and where's my own healing that I need to, oh, just let it go. No, I don't need to let it go. No, I need to process and work through it. Because that spiritual bypassing is you're always trying to go above it rather than through it.
Say it again.
Spiritual bypassing is you're always trying to go above it and not go through it. Like, and we have to go through it. Um, the whole cancer piece with me, you could be I think I dealt with it very well because I'm like, again, I don't feel it was it was a learning journey for me because where is it taking me in the future? I don't know. Well, now I'm going to be a cancer specialist. There's certain paths that it had to get me to go there, but I also had to deal with my emotions and my feelings. I couldn't just be like, "Oh, life's wonderful, da 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 da."
Yeah.
No.
Oh wow. So, that's so deep. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because this is a very common thing these days. So
Oh, yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you for clarifying. And could you please, as a closing, could you please share a practice that you would recommend for other women, to keep our sanity, be grounded, just be our authentic selves, every day?
I think the thing that helps me greatly, other than eating ice cream,
Oh, that is always,
that's always helpful,
always.
um, is when I'm in something and going through something, is I ask, what am I learning from this and what is it teaching me? I'm allowed to have my feelings, but okay, where am I? What's this about? What's the message? What am I doing? What am I supposed to heal from? What am I supposed to look at? And again, it puts me in that active role, not the victim role. It's like, okay, cancer. Okay, what am I supposed to be learning from this? I've learned a lot from that whole journey. Um, one of the one of the things is setting a boundary and telling an I don't want to call anybody out, but I didn't get services that are offered for free. And so writing a letter and saying, "Hey, please do better because you've caused me more stress and you've actually helped me."
Oh,
Um, again, it was setting that boundary and it was acknowledging this was crap. We don't always have to be, I was nice, but I was polite and I was firm of, you know, yeah, hold your boundaries, speak up, say things, because I think more people need to hear that too, that we're not going to just let people walk all over us.
Yes. Oh, yes, I agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being here. I love talking
Yeah.
to you. I could talk forever, and hopefully we will in the future. But I just really, everything you said, I think so helpful. Women out there, a lot of times they feel that they are lonely and, they are the only one, they are wrong, they are bad if they feel this way, that way. I just thank you so much for sharing this. We can all learn from it and do a soul search,
Mhm.
I think. And I like to, sometimes I forget to say this, but I really believe that's why I made this little space here, because I believe that when a woman is safe, the whole world becomes safe.
Yes,
Really.
I
Yes.
agree.
Right.
I
So
agree.
thank you for helping with that and doing the work you do. And I will put in the description everything about you. Where can
Okay.
people find you? How can you help? You know so much. You can offer so much. So yeah, those of you who just met Brooke for the first time, just read the description and follow her. And thank you. And let's all meet at the beautiful next upcoming fair in Worcester. Do you want to talk briefly about it? When will it be? Where will it be?
Yeah, it'll be Sunday, October 18th is the next, it'll be the metaphysical fair. And my goal is to make it a metaphysical and art fair. Um, because part of my degree is creativity, innovation, and leadership certification, along with the mind body medicine and how we tap into our creativity. And I think just bringing that art piece allows people to have a different soul reaction to things. Um, and so we have one room that's got a sound bath and Reiki practitioners. There'll be readers, there'll be presentations. We typically have a food truck and a coffee truck, all kinds of vendors that offer different holistic and cool stuff. Yep, just a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of good people, good energy.
Yes,
Right.
yes, very much so.
Yeah, thank you so much for being you and for being here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you having me.